Hi, everybody. Welcome to the lounge on this lovely Friday evening. How you guys all doing? I was just looking at the date, and it is April 22nd, 2022. Have you guys been seeing triple twos anywhere over the course of the week? Let me know. A lot of people have been asking about multiple numbers lately, and I just did a live stream 2 days ago. It was around lunchtime. You guys could tune into that. 3 things you need to know to heighten your intuition. It was a little special broadcast because, as many of you know that are here tonight, it has been 15 years in the making. Do you know what that is? My intuitive development online course. The beginner series is out. We have our one-on-one course, which is your foundation and basics course with the 5 focal tools you need to learn to actually jumpstart your intuition now. That's included. And we also have the intuitive development beginner series. We just launched level 1, which is all about discovering your specific intuitive type, learning how it works, and also learning how to come home to your energy, unblock your energy, and also start to stop those relationship patterns, right? Those cycles and patterns, having a breakthrough. I go through the whole foundation, and I really believe this. I talk about this a lot. 15 years ago, when I had the school back in Marlton, New Jersey, if anybody was a part of that that's watching, we had a great time. We had a lovely community. We had a lot of great talent and ability. Some of the best I have ever seen in my life come through that school. And we focused on technique. We focused on building intuition. We focused on how it was done, whether you were a channeler, a psychic, a medium, an empath, whatever it was. We focused because, believe it or not, even though intuition is kind of like a vague concept, there is certain techniques, and it's very technical in the way that I teach it because I like people to be specific in the gifts that they're given and the messages that they're receiving and know how to interpret those messages. I'm all about evidence in your messages, right? But over the last 15 years, what I've learned in my own personal life, that the more I developed my intuition, the less I was paying attention to what was going on in my life and my body. Anybody who's a highly sensitive spirit, who's an intuitive, who's an empath, who has these abilities where they feel and sense energy all the time, is basically not really living their own life. So while my intuitive abilities were like sky high, right? I still wasn't listening to them for my own stuff. And I still had the same patterns and cycles that were going on in my life. So yet I was on the radio, major market radio, taking callers every week. I was on television. I was doing live appearances. And I could tell everybody what I'm feeling to a great accurate degree. But when it came to, so I had a success in my business and my intuition, but when it came to me being content and calm and present and connected to the earth and to my personal life and to the people around me, and to not feel like I had a scattered mind all the time and to not feel like everything was chaotic in my soul, that wasn't happening. It was like, if I only have the right relationship, if I only get more success or more recognition, if I only can have this financial stability, if I could only have a certain type of partner, I will feel okay inside. And as the years went along, that anxiety just kept building and building and building and building. And I'm like, wait a second. I got all those things that I worked so hard for and thought that that was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And let me tell you, let me spare you some years and decades, because it was decades. Let me spare you decades of suffering and tell you it's not the pot of gold at the rainbow isn't in that next exciting romantic adventure that you think you're going to have. It's not in making $1 million. I've had many millionaires on this show that basically said they went into a deep depression. I had one just 2 weeks ago. Our guest tonight was actually on his show. He was like, he came from a background of trauma, and he was like, if I could only make $100,000, like, life will be great. And he hit many hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then he was suicidal because he realized that wasn't it. And where do you go when you get to that jumping off point? You know what I mean? Like, where things are kind of hopeless. So what did I do? I asked the universe simply. I'm like, you know what? I'm watching my clients go through these cycles and patterns. They're successful in their careers. They've got it all together in other aspects of their life. But in their relationships and their patterns with family members and even close friends, they're replaying out these cycles over and over again. And what am I doing when I'm doing an intuitive session? I'm predicting with accuracy what they're going to do next in a year from now. They're like, Marisa, this is awesome. You're predicting. But what was I really predicting? Their cycles. Because then they'd come back a year later and be like, oh, the same thing happened again with this person that you predicted would come in my life. So I was like, oh, I'm not helping myself and I'm not helping these people, because they're like, I know what you're saying is right, Marisa, but I'm not going to follow that path. I'm not going to follow the difficult road. I'm going to do what's easy and what my instincts are telling me to do. So I went to the universe one day and I was like, listen, universe, whatever you need to put me through to learn how to break the cycle, put me through it. And boy, did it put me through it. I got what I asked for. And I was like, like I talk about it, like clay molded into porcelain, that process. It was like bumped around, fired up, put in the oven, like pounded down. I mean, I don't think I've ever experienced that much pain. And I asked the universe, like, do this so I can help other people. And what I realized that it's about learning about our intuition, but it's also about coming home to our body and by balancing our nervous system. And I mean, I went to 20 years of trying to find a therapist. I read spiritual books. I went to like Peruvian shamans to clear my energy and have all these crazy situations. And these things all worked. These things all did clear energy, but they didn't stop the pattern that I was playing out. So the reason I developed this round of intuitive development is for the transformation. It's about the nervous system regulation to come home to our body, because I was always searching for a sense of home. I was always searching for a sense of home. So I must have moved about 20 times looking for that. Looking for home in a person, looking for home in a place, looking for home, just a feeling. And what I was really looking for was to break through that feeling that was like this all the time, that was actually protecting me from my authentic home within myself. And when you get to know yourself, it's actually the opposite of what you ever thought you were. So this is the first step, Intuitive Development 101 and Intuitive Development Level 1. Usually these two courses are sold separately. And in this launch up until Tuesday, I'm giving you the 101 course for free with that course. So it's a $100 course. You're getting it for free. I'm also going to be doing a 90-minute live Q&A. Once everybody is onboarded by the 26th, probably a couple weeks after that, we're going to be doing a live Q&A where this won't be going on once it's not a live launch. You can buy the course, but we're not going to be having access to doing a live experience. So you're going to have that. And you also get a year of support in our Slack community, which is a private community. And you can ask all your questions. And we have like an actual channel called Intuitive Stories. And people just post their wow moments. And it's just like, you look at it and you're just like so inspired. So we have a lot of people in there. If you guys want to get in on it for this, it's like over $2,000 worth of bonuses that I put into this so people could get started. Go to the link in the description of this video and there will be a link to join. And like I said, the doors are closing very soon. They're closing on Tuesday. I'm not sure when we're opening the course again, because I want to take the people that are coming through. I want to give them my full attention and get them ready for levels 2 and 3. So happy Friday, Carrie. Good to see you, Carrie. Carrie has joined our intuitive development series. Carrie, she's awesome. She has intuitive abilities skyrocketed herself. So she's coming in to kind of have that transformation as well. Thanks, Carrie, for joining us tonight. I will also put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to join us before the 26th. And on Tuesday, the doors are closing. So if you're interested, get on in. You're going to get the 101 course for free. Not going to get that after this. So if it were me, I'd get on board and join this community, because this is going to be the most interactive community that we're going to have. So I'm so excited. So let me just talk to you guys about this time of year. If you guys were listening to my monthly energy forecast for April, I talked about this weekend, right? The 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I have it right here. I handwrite all of my monthly energy forecasts. So if you are on my email list, you have received that in your inbox. It is on a private YouTube unlisted video. It's only for my email list members, but I go over every day of the month. And I'm looking back on my notes and it says the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, which is where we are right now. Enjoy the festivities days. These are celebration days. Best days for holiday gatherings, getting together with friends, parties, celebrate, dinners, events. This is great. Once you hit the 24th, I have the least favorite day of the month. So you know what? Definitely what you want to do is have a great weekend. That's what I suggest. This is good energy all around. So I have some, and this is also manifesting your soulmate love in 2022 in Taurus season, which is where we're coming into now. We had a full moon in Libra, which is all about balancing your relationships. And if your relationships aren't balanced, putting those structures into place so those relationships are balanced. Over the last 5 years, we were able to exist with relationships being on a teeter-totter, push and pull, drag it in, whatever you want to do. We're trying to balance those out by things that probably aren't going to work anymore. You need definite structures, and relationships right now for you getting into your purpose and what you're supposed to be doing need to be balanced, especially romantic relationships. But in addition, we are in the biggest manifestation time of 2022 of the year for manifesting your soulmate love. So we talked about that last week's lounge. Okay. This week we're bringing on Kari, and you know what? I forgot to ask her before the show how to pronounce her last name. So I'm just going to say Carrie P. She will tell you who she is because I am not going to pronounce that correctly. And I don't want to make a jerk out of myself. So, or her be like, oh my God, Marisa, like you're running this show and you don't even know how to pronounce like somebody's last name. Like, I don't want to be that person because I get my name pronounced wrong all the time. They'll be like, Lisa. Oh, hi, Lisa. How are you? First of all, my name's not Lisa. Okay. My first name is Marisa. Some people say, oh, Marisa. Marisa. Nobody spells it right. Or some people call me Lisa. And I'm like, okay, it's Marisa Liza, but that's my middle name. So there you go. So I always kind of get a little weird if somebody doesn't know how to pronounce my name that's interviewing me. So I'm not going to do that to Carrie P. We're just going to keep it at that. And I'm going to talk about her real quick. If you're on the lounge watching, don't be a stranger. Pop in, say hi. I just want to know who's here. I know Carrie's here. Carrie, how are you? Good to see you. I'd love to have you come on in and join us. Hang with us live. I'll send you the link to come on. Come and have a sit. Enjoy. I want to hear what's going on with you. We need to do a little reading here, don't we? Ashley, how are you? Ashley, oh man. Ashley's been around a long time, from the group galleries back at the Hampton Inn in Princeton where we had 10 people, back in the day. Then we went up to like 600. But Ashley was around way back in the day. Ashley's also part of our intuitive development beginner series. Ashley has joined, and she's got a lot of intuitive abilities too. Ashley started taking notes today. Great job. I can't wait to see you on the live, Ashley. We call her Ashley E with lots of E's. Yes, that's what we do, because she's got some magic going on. Magic. Awesome. We also have Angela. Everybody who's joined is here. Angela is one of our students too. She just joined, and she's on the turnpike, I guess, and she's on a live stream. Be careful, Angela. What are you doing on the turnpike? Nevin Blogs. How are you? I haven't seen you on here yet, but hi, Nevin. Good. Nevin Blogs. Are you a blogger? All right. So let's get to what I have to say about Kari. All right. Let me bring her little file up here. All right. So she is a master relationship coach, strategic interventionalist. I have to wonder what that is. Owner of Highest Intent Life Coaching. Carrie P has been helping people all over the world for a lifetime. A mother of 3 and a grandmother of 8. Oh my God, holy SHI to her. And married to the man of her dreams. Don't we all want that? Kari has a lifetime of experience with many people and cultures. Having lived in many places in the world, she's uniquely qualified to help all people. Kari spent her young adulthood as a stay-at-home mom where she devoted herself to changing people's lives by educating military families about the Individuals with Disabilities Acts and volunteering as a parent advocate for children with special needs. Her truest mission is to help as many people as possible to embrace the incredible joy and excitement that comes with a great relationship so that they will live their best lives together. And we want to know, what is a good relationship, right? We want to ask Kari that question because we all think we know. But if we came from a traumatic background, we came from dysfunction, we don't know what normal is. In Kari's spare time, she continues to volunteer her time to help military families to live happier lives. Kari has helped many couples with innovative ideas and amazing tools through the years. She's also a published author of Get Out of the Box and Into Play, The Secret of a Lasting Relationship, and is happy to announce the development of an amazing new couples retreat. I wonder where that is. What we're going to talk about today, she has like 3 main tips that she's going to talk about on how to have like a really exciting relationship. So without further ado, Kari, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. I hope that, okay, what is your last name? How do you pronounce
Petruch.
that? Petruch.
Petruch.
I would not have said that, and then I would have been embarrassed.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's no big deal.
I would have said Petruch.
I have been called Pet Rock.
Pet Rock. Oh my God, Pet Rock. Can you really? Somebody said that.
Ready? Petruch.
Pet Rock is. I mean, what kind was that on a podcast? You were called Carrie Pet Rock.
Yeah.
What? Was this like a seasoned podcast person?
Actually, yes, it was. Yes.
Did you correct them and say, I'm not a pet rock? I'm actually.
I just started laughing. What do you do? You know, I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you ever tell them, like, my name is not Carrie
Pet
Rock?
I did. Okay. I said it's Petruch. And they're like, she just stood there. We had silence for about 20 seconds, I think. It was a long silence.
I can't even stop laughing about that. Yeah. Oh, my God. So I would have thought it was Petruch.
Well, it would be Petruch.
Petruch.
Yeah, it would be Petruch. It's Ukrainian.
I wouldn't be able to do that either.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Petruch is easy. So
yeah, that's perfect. We'll just keep it there. So you are a master relationship coach, Kari. And when we talked about in your bio, we were looking at that and it said your mission is to help people have a healthy, lively, fun, playful, vibrant relationship. And I don't know. I know people that are in my program and my life too. It's like, if you don't see that growing up, how do you know what is a healthy relationship? Like we might think something's healthy, but somebody yelling if you grew up around yelling, somebody yelling at you is like, oh, this is normal and healthy and great. Like, this is what love looks like. Right.
Absolutely. That is so true. You know what you know. You know what you were raised with, whatever you have in your little box that was created for you. You know, that box gets filled up full of all kinds of things and beliefs that are handed to us and we accept as our own belief and our own reality. It's only by examining what is that we can find out if it's healthy or not. I was in such a really terrible relationship that it was really obvious that was not the way to go. But I love what you shared about having 20 years of therapy.
Yeah, did nothing.
No, honestly. I had 20 years of therapy. And it wasn't until I got out of that abusive relationship that I had a really good friend, and she's been my best friend for a long time now. And she said to me, do you know you need to interview your therapist? And I went, what? And she goes, oh yeah, you need to interview them. You need to find out if it's a person, and the one that's for you is the one that doesn't cosign your bull.
Yeah.
That's the one for you. And I was like, well, but she goes, no, you can talk yourself out of therapy inside out and upside down. You got to want this, and you got to let somebody give you the plain truth. And that's where I went with it. But absolutely, my idea of what a relationship was supposed to look like was nothing like what a healthy relationship was. I really
So,
felt
like,
like I
what is
go
a
ahead.
healthy relationship? Like, what should people who are watching tonight who have not had healthy relationships, what is like, what's the definition of it?
Well, I do want to tell you what I thought the definition was that there was no arguing, there was no fighting, there was peace all of the time, there was always
Right.
loving, there was, my idea was that, and today I know that a healthy relationship is a relationship where two people grow together and make their own box. And whatever that looks like, as long as there's not abuse involved, you need to decide that for yourselves. And for what I see from couples, a healthy relationship is one where there's mutual love, mutual respect, mutual understanding, and the understanding that conflict happens. It just happens. And if we don't have conflict, then we don't grow as a couple and we don't grow as a person. So that conflict happening within a relationship, as long as it's not abusive,
Mhm.
helps us to grow, and that growth echoes out to our children, to our families, to our work relationships. It echoes out everywhere. It's an amazing thing that happens because the conflict can happen in that safe space. To me,
Right.
that's what a healthy relationship looks like. Having fun is the key thing. And coming from an abusive childhood into trying to have a healthy relationship, many of us who grew up in an abusive situation don't give ourselves permission to play.
That's right.
We just don't. I spent my childhood being responsible for my younger brother and taking care of him, making sure that he had food and was comforted and being mini mom. You know, I didn't have or allow myself time for play. And with my relationship with my husband, we goof off and we play and we do kid things all the time. We just play
What do you
because
mean by play? Because I don't like, I played in the sandbox when I was younger. I went to the park,
right,
you know what I mean? What, as an
right.
adult, it's like you have so many tasks. You have children. If you have children to deal with, you have aging
Mhm.
parents. You have people in your life that have, your clients. You have people in your life that have their issues that you have to tend to. You
Right.
have bills.
So
Like, what is,
on a hot summer day, you could take two little tiny squirt guns that you get from one of those cheaper stores, and you can go get those squirt guns and fill them up and go outside. You could spend 10 minutes playing with each other and squirting each other with those little squirt guns. I mean, there's just so many just little moments you can create for yourself.
I don't know if
Tons
I
and
see
tons of
myself
them.
like going on the back with the squirt gun, but it sounds
Why not?
fun.
Why
True.
not?
True. I mean, if there's kids
They,
around, then I wouldn't feel as weird about going to my neighbors. Be like, "What's she doing out
they,
back with the squirt gun? She's already talking to dead people." Now
oh,
she's
how
in the back with the
how
squirt gun.
sad. But then that's sad for them.
Oh no, I'm just
Too
being
bad.
funny. Yeah,
Yeah, who cares?
yeah,
We spend a lot of time caring about what other people think.
right,
And we don't have fun because we're so worried about what other people are going to think. But
right,
who cares? Who
right.
cares if you chase each other around with a hose when you're washing the car? Usually people don't do that. Usually they smile. When we act like a kid and we're playing with each other, if people see us, they usually smile. My husband and I are like two little kids at the grocery store. We go in there and we start joking with each other and saying things like, "What? No, don't buy that. You don't want that." And we're just going on and
Right.
people are cracking up around us. We're just playing with each other. And no, you want this one. No, I don't want that one. Yes, you do. No, you don't. I mean, we just go back and forth and joke and play like little kids play, you know? And almost all the time people are smiling at us because we're having so much fun.
So how did
It
you?
just
I mean, Carrie, like, how did you go from like a very serious, like abusive relationship? Most of the times, like I talk about this all the time
Mhm,
on my streams. I'm like, you know, people usually just go to another abusive relationship, or they go to somebody who's emotionally unavailable, or an
mhm,
alcoholic, or somebody who's got
mhm.
some sort of issue where they're disconnected from them and they don't aren't getting their needs met. So, did you have your own process of transformation? Or, like, what led you to like actually feel like you deserved a playful relationship?
Well, a lot of things took place. A lot happened. I left that abusive relationship. I went and sought therapy, got help. I got in touch with me. I was told very often in my life that I was too sensitive, I was too
Mm,
emotional, and I did not know what in the heck an empath was. I
right.
didn't understand any of those things. That brought to light helped me a great deal. To understand that, yes, I think a little differently. Yes, I feel things a little differently. Yes, I see things a little differently, and that's okay. And beginning to love myself.
Mhm.
It was a conscious choice and a lot of hard work. And then I had an incredible coach tell me how to manifest the man that I wanted in my life.
All
And
right.
that's
Well,
what I did.
I'm interested in that. What did that coach tell you how to manifest? I'm interested in that formula.
Right. So she said, instead of saying, I want a man who's rich, or I want a man who's this, or who has this car, or any of those kinds of things, I had to really do an examination of my values. And the manifest list was, I have a man who is honest. I have a man who has integrity. I have a man who loves me. And I have a man who cares about how I feel. So all of those things on that list were placed and then put on a piece of paper on my mirror in the bathroom. And I said them every single day. And when I met Ray, um, he wanted me to see his house. And so he brought me over, and I needed to go to the restroom. And on his mirror was a list, a manifest list. And it had the exact same requirements on his.
What?
And that was exactly the same. And then the most beautiful thing about that list is on the bottom of the list was the same date as the one I wrote.
That I'm getting like chills because I
Mhm.
like, yeah, I do this for a living. I'm a medium intuitive. I'm not supposed to be skeptical, but that I am I'm like, really? Did that really
Mhm.
happen? And
Yeah.
how did you guys meet? I mean, was it kind of a synchronistic situation, or where did you meet from friends, or how did you actually get together?
Well, we were around mutual friends, but he lit up a cigar.
What?
And when we lit up a cigar, and he was smoking with a cigar with the guys. And I walked over and I said, do you mind if I smell some of the smoke? And he looked at me like I was out of my mind. What do you really? Well, I had uncles who smoked cigars. So I thought, well, I would really, I wanted to be around it because it reminded me of the fond memories of my uncles and them smoking cigars. So I stood beside him. He thought that was a little odd, but he thought it was a pickup line, but it really was. Can I just smell some of the smoke from your cigar? And he asked me out. So that's how we met.
So he's been around you in your group of friends, so you knew of him and you
Mhm.
knew who he was.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
I knew of him.
why weren't you attracted to him before? Or why wasn't there a connection in the past?
There was no I we just liked being around each other, and we just decided, hey, and we just started doing a few things together, but the relationship progressed very slowly, very, very
Yes,
slowly.
that is such a
Yeah.
good point. I always tell my
Mhm,
clients this. I say before you just you meet someone and the next day you're moving in,
mhm,
before you even like, take that next step, like get to know the person, because a lot of people make that commitment, they jump in, they move in, they, and 6
Right.
months later, they're like, I don't even like this person.
Well, we had to, even, in our conversations, there were things that we had to negotiate, even though that manifest list was there. We had conversations about how we felt about spirituality. We had conversations about how we felt about, did or did not feel about politics. I mean, we explored all the areas before we actually got romantically involved. And we found that we spent hours and hours and hours and hours talking. By the way, he's an empath. So
Oh, wow.
it is an exciting relationship, and it is amazing, and it does take a lot of work for us, but we like the work. We like doing that. We both grow a lot.
Now, you guys had the same manifest list. Did you guys have the same therapist that told you to do this?
No, we didn't. He made his manifest list based on law of attraction, and he actually followed the direction for it. I had no idea what law of attraction was. I had no clue about any of that stuff at all. So all I knew is who I was and how I felt and what I saw and what things I knew that I didn't understand why I knew them. And, I had no direction at all about why things were happening in my life. But
Oh my God.
he read law of attraction and followed the directions for that and did it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have a special guest that is backstage that is going to come and talk to us about her love life. And a lot of you Loungeiites will remember back in the pandemic, I had lounge buddies on all the time. And we had my friends who were different characters, and they came on and they just sat and drank tea and had some coffee, and they would,
Cool.
BS with us while we had our live music, while we had our expert guests on. And some of you will remember, I will give you guys, if you want to guess, maybe have an intuitive little test here. Those of you who might want to guess which lounge buddy it is, because a lot of you have been watching the lounge forever. But she is, she's coming on, and I know that this is going to be interesting because you're an empath. She's got a lot of intuitive abilities. Obviously, this is what I do. And I know she's kind of struggling in love right now. And I'm thinking maybe we can help her out a little bit. Maybe we can help her out. And then once we kind of get into her situation, then I want to hear your 3 tips. So we'll kind of go with that in a little bit. So without further ado, the other Carrie P.
I am the other Carrie. Good evening. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Really
Hi,
funny.
everybody.
Oh my God. I didn't realize that until I just saw it on the banner that you're both Carrie P.
It was so weird because you said your special guest tonight was Kari, and then my screen froze, and I was like, wait a minute, she didn't ask me to be on tonight, did she? And then it's funny exchange, but I'm here. Thanks for having me.
And yet here you are.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, back in the day, that all of our lounge buddies had nicknames. We had Bathroom Bernie, we had the Seductress, we had a lot of different names, and yes, so I was the Temptress. We had a lot of different names. So yes, Paula, you got that right. Kudos to you, Paula. Yes,
yay, Paula.
So we got Carrie P, who
Good
thought
stuff.
We got the Seductress Carrie P, the other
OG.
Carrie P, the OG, the original, thought that I made a mistake. I was supposed to bring her on the show. And then we have the other Carrie P, who was called a pet rock by another host on another podcast. And now we have both Carrie P's here. Isn't this fun? So Carrie, I'd say it was meant to be that you were supposed to be here tonight. I know we kind of followed your love life back in the day. We're all wearing black. So I'm hoping that we can help you out a little bit. You can be as open as you want, or I'm not going to press you for any more details than you want to give. But what are you struggling with right now? And I think, I don't know. I know I need more play in my life. I'm constantly, going and doing and working, and I need to infuse play. And sometimes I don't know how to do it that well. I know Kari is kind of like me in a lot of those ways. So Kari, what would you say? You want to give us a little update? You want to give us kind of what's going on with you? Maybe we can help you out.
Sure. So I've been spending the last 2 years doing exactly what you said, just reading all of the books, getting all of the right therapists, new therapists, searching, researching, all of these things. And the pandemic was unkind, but there was some dating happening. And
Yes, and I've heard all about each one, and I don't even. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And-
So this week, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, I think when we go to therapy, when we start to discover and dig deeper, we might be, dealing with things over here, and then something pops up over here. It's almost like the body reacts when part of it starts to heal. There's this memory of trauma, or this memory of discomfort, and so the discomfort, or it manifests differently, and it's really hard to get off the cycle. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. And so that was good. I asked my therapist to turn me inside out.
Oh, geez.
I did.
Weird sorts of words, right?
Right. For sure. So here we are, and my love life. I started a very adult relationship with a
Very adult.
I was adulting. I was trying to adult, and we had a very adult breakup. It was very polite. We had a very polite, and I love what the other Kari said about relationships aren't supposed to be perfect all the time. But I think that he and I were both like very cordial, very polite, very mature, and we never ever fought. We never fought. This is a 6-month. And I don't know where things stand right now, but I exited with grace, and but I'm discovering that, though, the problem was that, so I had one sibling. We lost her last year. She was special needs as well. And I grew up without a voice, or I thought. Vocalizing my needs was very, very difficult for me. How that manifested, and regardless of the home situation, I mean, it was there were stressors in the household besides just having a sister with special needs. Feeling like I didn't want to upset the apple cart. But you play that forward 40 years or so, and the responsibility becomes mine. I have to be mature enough. I have to be healed enough to know that I need to speak my truth. Really, I need to identify to others. It's not their responsibility to hold a crystal ball and know what my needs are. I need to be able to effectively say them, speak them, require them, and ask for them, and not get angry when labeling people as rude, or somehow I just lost the word, thoughtless, rude, without compassion, because they don't know what my needs are, when I'm actually trapped in this little voice, with this little voice of this little girl who is too afraid to express my needs. So I'm now on the other side of a relationship that ended, adulting very much, looking back at like, what did I do wrong? And yeah, and I'm grateful for the education, and just kind of sad.
That was cheeky. Because I know you. Yeah. Like, thanks for the education. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm breaking out in hives. But so.
Yeah. Well, did you get any insight from him as to what the problem was that he was like struggling with, which caused him to start to pull back? Did you notice a change in behavior like within a week or two of this happening?
Yeah, he was expressing curiosity about what the future held. He even said, gosh, we're at the 6-month mark. It's like I'm trying to visualize what comes next, and it seems kind of obvious, and that's really scary, and I've never lived with anyone before, and I don't know. And meanwhile, like for weeks, for months, I was getting like, he was sending me real estate links to like this and to that, so there are all these mixed messages. And there's stuff, he knows it. He said he's working on himself. He's using the time to sort of, he said that there was some stuff coming up from his past that he didn't like, that he didn't want it in this relationship, and he was going to spend some time working on that.
Yeah, it seems when somebody gets close to a commitment that does have a past of sensitivity, they're almost looking for that glaring trigger of like, if in any way they get triggered to see even it's a slight glimmer of what something was like in the past, it's like, they run, you know what I mean? Because he was that close to that major commitment that it's almost like holding a microscope not a microscope, not a microscope, a magnifying glass, and everything looks a little bit bigger. So I don't know. I've known I've known the other Carrie P for a really long time. Carrie, I just couldn't call it the Petruch. I've known Carrie. The Petruch. Carrie P, the author Carrie P. So I've watched her just have such hope that the next person was going to meet her needs, and she's looking for fulfillment. I know she is. And I've just watched her go through these, this hope and then get dropped down again. And so I'm wondering, how could she, Kari, like how could she do what you did and, find the right soulmate for her? Like, how can she do that according to your tips?
Well, so the tips have to do with people who are already in relationships, but I will tell you this. Adulting doesn't mean boring. Having fun and enjoying each other and being in love and doing those things together. I really had a picture that, being an adult was being boring. Being an adult meant that you couldn't have fun or couldn't have passion or excitement or get into an argument. And the concerning thing with that is if there's no passion, there's not enough passion for you to disagree with each other, then really was that it for you? The greatest relationships are when there's got to be some conflict. Because if there's no conflict, there's no growth. It doesn't mean you have to fight or you have to throw things at each other or anything like that. There's going to be that conflict because we have a need to be right. It doesn't matter who you are. You've got a need to be right. And when you have a need to be right, the conflict comes because we all have egos, and it is great that relationship didn't go on, because if you're not arguing, you're not really having conflict in there, then you're not really growing and the passion's not there. Do you want the passion? Do you want that love? Do you want that feeling like this is the person for me for the rest of my life? This is the one. And I wouldn't settle for anything less. I'd rather not have. I'd rather not have a relationship where I'm bored, a relationship where I'm not fulfilled. I'd rather not have that. I'd rather have passion. I'd rather have conflict so that we can grow. I'd rather have fun and play and enjoy each other. And if it's boring, then the two of you were boring and had no hope anyway. So look for that. Look for the passion. Look for somebody who'll play with you. Get into a little bit of conflict, get into some discussion, do things like, spray you with the sprayer or chase you around the house or, all those fun things, because that is the great thing. And I heard you say something about mind reading, which blew my mind. It is really common to hear that women have that expectation that their partner can read their mind. And I am so, so happy that you are learning just to say what's on your mind. So many times I hear couples talk about, well, he should know how I feel. He should know what I'm thinking. He should know what I want. And you know what? Those guys don't know. They don't have a clue. They just sit there going, okay, what was I supposed to know? Well, I'll just run and hide until she gets mad enough to tell me. Well, that isn't healthy. And I'm so glad that you're learning to say, yeah,
Yeah. And I'm getting like just an intuitive feeling like that your protector was the one really communicating. So whether that was, if it was like you were discontent, and he probably felt that you were disappointed or you were not content, but yet it wasn't like he was just feeling an energy, and that protector was there because you were getting so close to vulnerability, but I don't think you really were vulnerable with him. I think that when you were triggered, maybe that came off as a certain fear or anxiety.
Yeah, it was weird. So I was purposeful in expressing my needs throughout the relationship, but I was very pragmatic. I was very cautious about when and how I did it. And the one night where it came out sideways, it was like an out-of-body experience. It was like, I can't even believe I just did and said what I just said. And my whole body, my whole anatomy reacted before saying anything. I'd just been sick for 10 days, and we went out with a group of people, and this is when I was like, oh, he should know I want to go home. He should know I'm sick. He should know it's getting late. And it was almost like that was the one night that I didn't express myself thoughtfully. It just came out. It just came out how it came out. So like, I like what you say about the protector stepping up and voicing, and because it for the very first time in the entire relationship, there was no filter. I was like very, very cautious about how I really wanted this relationship to work. And I was very, very cautious every single time I tried to share with him how I was feeling. Like, it would be great if we could do this, because I'm kind of feeling like I'm doing all the heavy lifting here. And I was very expressive, but I was doing it in a very like, just a very thoughtful manner. So he could not get mad, and he didn't. But it was sort of like walking on eggshells all the time.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I mean, if you can't even have a moment of explosiveness, I mean, I could tell you that I have many moments where I'm not like, it's like, and you like probably sitting there and that protector's criticizing you, being like, I didn't do it perfectly this time. Oh my God, I screwed up and it's my fault. And I showed him like and it's like, if he can't stick it out when you have a bad moment and he runs, like, to me, it's like, dude, are you doing your work?
Right. No, for sure. Right.
Is he doing his personal work? Like, you're going through to all these trauma therapy, whatever you're doing. Has he done any work on his family history?
No, and there's a lot.
Right. So guess what? It's his issue. Right. And to me, it's like, I always say this, you probably heard me say it a million times. Water seeks its own level. You are going to attract somebody that does have some of that history that you do. And it's okay if you attract somebody messed up. It's okay. I don't mean messed up, but it's like both people have to be doing personal growth work individually and as a couple in order for you guys, because you're not, didn't grow up with, parents married 50 years and happily go lucky and everything, so we need people like us need a little bit more help. So it's like, you can attract that. But if he's not doing any work, once those 3-week, 3-month, and 6-month triggers come up in a relationship in a year, people freak out. And if that was, you had a bad moment was enough for him to like leave, then it wasn't you,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
But let me,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I just have to get to Carrie's 3 tips.
I went jogging with one of his really good friends where I've known him longer. His friend,
Okay.
I've known him 17 years, but we went running today. It's exactly what he said. He's like, if you have one bad moment and dude can't hang, like, yeah.
I don't know. You're so focused on beating yourself with the bat right now.
Yeah.
And being like, my perfection streak was ruined.
I had one ugly moment and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
My
human.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Well,
somebody's, yeah.
I really, my husband did that on purpose. He made me blow up.
Oh.
I mean, he picked at me till I blew up so that I would get real with him, because I was doing that, walking on eggshells and worried about what I was going to say and worried about what I was going to do. And is he going to get mad at me? And is he going to abandon me? Is he going to leave me? You know, those hauntings were still there, but he aggravated the fire out of me until I blew up, and he stayed the course. He stayed the course. So you deserve that.
Get out of the casting chair, get into the director chair is what I'm telling you. It's like, he wants to be with you. Guess what? You have a commitment to yourself that you're going to be with a man who does personal work. That's your commitment. That's not for him to keep. That's your commitment. I talk about this all the time. Like, you got to keep the commitment for yourself. You got to commit to yourself first, what your rules are. And then you ask him to step up. If he doesn't step up, he's not the right guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to ask him to step up. And I mean, I have very, very strong, like, if you these beliefs, and I'm like, the person I'm with has to do their personal work. If they don't, I'm not interested, because I'm going to be growing at a rate that's much, different, and we're going to grow apart. So like, that's the bottom line. You don't want to do that. Fine. But you have to commit to yourself what you expect. And if he comes back around, you'd be like, look, you're going to have to do this if I'm going to even give this another try. Put yourself in the director chair. Right. You're not on the casting couch anymore. And that sounds really weird. But yeah, you know what I mean? So let me get to Kari, because I know there's a lot of people who want to hear your 3 tips. They've been waiting. So let me get to you. And for the people that are in relationships, what are those 3 tips that we were talking about in the beginning that you'd like to share with us?
Right. So one of the number one things that people who are in serious relationships forget to do is they forget to date each other, especially when children are involved. They forget to go out on dates. You need that date night. If you're in a serious relationship, remember that those date nights are so important. And it doesn't have to mean going out and spending $300 on a date.
But you could.
You could. You could. But I do see very often people going out with their children for a date night. And I encourage you to not do that, to not have your children to go out with. Or feed your kids their dinner, put them to bed, and make dinner together and create the date night in your own home without the kids. Don't talk about the kids. Don't talk about work. Actually talk about the things you were talking about when you were dating and falling in love. All of those things that you explored then, you need to explore like once a week. Last thing you want to do is wake up when the kids grow up and leave home and say, who are you and what are you doing in my house? The second thing that's really important is, and I know this is going to get a lot of flack, but is lay down the devices. When you decide that you're going to spend time alone together and have real intimacy and real communication with each other, having it through the phone is not intimacy. Having it through your iPad is not intimacy. It is not real communication. There's so much to be said, as you well know. our communication doesn't just happen with words. It happens with body language. It happens with the sound of your voice. It happens in all kinds of ways. And all of that connection is super important to build intimacy. So at least for 1 hour every night, put them away, turn them off, put them in the other room, mute them, do whatever you've got to do to get away from it. You can afford to let go of it for an hour in order to save your intimacy.
That's a good
And
point.
then the third thing is play. And we talked about that earlier a little bit, and that is go play games together. Play, I don't know how family this is, but you can play strip Monopoly together. You can do all kinds of things together. And, there's 50 ideas that I have for you that you can
Yes.
go and just go through. If you can't find one thing to do with your partner in there, you're really boring.
Okay,
So
let's get
there's
this up there.
there's at least one thing out of 50 that you can do to have fun. And basically what it is getting back to being a kid and playing with each other, chasing each other around the house. And there's just so much in there. And for some of you ladies out there who say my partner isn't interested in me anymore, I have only one thing to say to that. And that is, if you go into your kitchen with nothing but an apron on and cook dinner for him, I promise you he'll be interested.
Wait, what?
If you go into your kitchen and cook dinner with nothing on but an apron.
Oh, nothing on but an apron. I thought
Nothing
with
on
an apron.
but an apron. I promise you he'll be interested.
Right.
There's so much that you can do to spice things up with it. And it doesn't have to cost a fortune, and it doesn't take a whole lot of creativity, but just be creative and act like a kid. Play with each other. Do things that you did when you were kids. Run around, get in there, build a sandcastle together on the beach, do stuff together. That's what you would do when you were a kid. It changes everything. My husband and I laugh a lot, and laughter relieves all the stress you can imagine. It is just amazing to laugh.
Laughter is really important. And so
Mhm.
you do have your book that you publish on Amazon. So if you do want Carrie's book, Get Out of the Box and Into Play, The Secret to a Lasting Relationship, it is available on Amazon. Go right there now, and you could just press the button for Amazon Prime and get it in a day or two, right? If you have a. So this is great. Those are some great tips. And, this free guide, 50 things couples can do for fun. Because I was asking Kari before we came out, I'm like, well, what are some things? Like, I don't even know what these fun things would be. Well, there's a free guide you can download, highestintentcoach.com. And she gives you 50 ideas. So I think if you can take one of those a week, how many months is that?
That's about a year's worth of fun things to do.
Right. So that sounds like you have everything all planned out for us. And then definitely go and get the book. If you're lacking excitement, but you're like, I have so many clients, they're like, I love my husband, he's great, but it's boring, and they want excitement outside of that. So it's kind of like
those husbands want the excitement. They do. They want to play with you. Just start playing, they'll play along.
Now, can you name 3 things on this list?
One of them is naked Monopoly. Another one is we talked about it earlier, about taking squirt guns out and chasing each other around the yard with squirt guns and having fun doing that. Another thing is, I know it's going to sound a little strange, but taking finger paint and painting pictures on your window. You can wash it off, but it is amazing when the two of you are together, how you start laughing about what you decide to put on the windows.
That's interesting.
It is. It's really fun. It's fun how couples can be kids and laugh and have a lot of joy. And not only are you doing that, you're building memories.
Yeah. Well, this is great. Well, thank you so much, Kari.
Thank you.
Just another reminder, Master Relationship Coach Carrie P. And oh wait, Nope, that's not what I want to do. Hold on a second. Your 50 things couples can do for fun, highestintentioncoach.com. And you can get Carrie's book, Get Out of the Box and Into Play, The Secret to a Lasting Relationship. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Carrie. We really enjoyed having you on tonight. And the
Thank
other
you.
Carrie P, I hope that you've gotten at least some insight and at least just some validation that the universe had you go for a jog with a friend. And he said the same thing that I said. So something is going on where we got to just switch that perception around, put down the baseball bat and realize like your perfection streak didn't end the relationship because you had a bad moment. His issues ended the relationship. And you want to be with someone who's going to move mountains for you.
Sure, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we all want that. So thank you to everybody. And remember, I talked about this in the beginning. If you're not joined up with us for the Intuitive Development Series, I put the link in the chat. And we are closing the doors to enrollment on Tuesday. You're going to get 2 courses for the price of 1. You're going to get a live Q&A with me. And you're going to get, it's a live group experience to answer all your intuitive questions. If you're seeing numbers, if you're having angel experiences, if you want to know about your guides, and you're going to have access to our private forum for a year to ask any questions that you need to ask. So join us and buy Carrie's book, and the other Carrie P, we'll find you. We'll find you who you're looking for. Just be patient. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your Friday night.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.